Hi guys, welcome back in. I think this is technically the official first episode. We kind of done a pilot last time, just to kind of see how things work. It didn't even have a name, had nothing to do about it. We'd like to introduce, obviously, Game Day Esports. We do plan to do more wider than PUBG. I forgot to mention, I do want to talk a little bit wider than PUBG, which I'll bring up in a second. We've prepared a little bit. We took your feedback community and we've got some kind of structure that we're going to be going through. Please, first and foremost, if you like the content already, hit that subscribe and hit that bell icon and keep providing us feedback. We want to provide this as a platform to give you guys and girls out there as much information as we can about mainly PUBG, but obviously we will continue to transition across as multiple games come across our desk. Welcome back. This is technically, to be honest, take 2 recording. There was a technical error, so we can apologise. One of the cameras, the recording quite didn't work out and didn't come out. That's why we opted to come back again. But actually, it's quite a good thing because since we last recorded last week, it does lots has happened since then as well. So I think this is a blessing in disguise, guys. Right, let's kick things up. Recap super quickly. Let's quickly talk about Bing Esports. They done the Esports Nation Royale tournament. It was a fun one. I think if anyone wants to look at the rosters, they were good. CIS smashed it. I think the biggest takeaway for me was Germany. Team Germany got knocked out on the first round. They had to go to that second elimination, and they just didn't come through. So, is it to be expected this early on? I was a bit shocked by them, I'll be honest.
Bit of fun, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Not surprised with the CIS. Obviously, they've been dominating, owning everything. All the players are crazy on that squad. Germany, not surprised, let's be honest.
Oh, I was.
That's a T-bone one there for you. But it was just a lot of fun. I guess everyone enjoyed it, it seemed, that was watching. So, yeah, great little event.
The Balkan team, they obviously got seconds. Like, for me, like they surprised me.
Yeah, they did well, yeah.
They done really well. And they had a bit of fun at the end, so I'll give them that. But it became a bit of a destruction derby at the last game.
That's
anyway,
for sure.
That aside, a fun event, done and dusted. What's happening with events will coming up, but there's nothing else really to recap. I think the main recap for me now is to talk patch notes, because since our last recording and now, we've had a new patch come out, right? And
yes, sir.
There's a lot to talk about, and excuse me, we'll edit this a lot better. But I do want to talk patch notes because a lot's happened. Let's break things down. I want to leave the MK to last because that is a big topic of conversation. 1v1 me, bro. Let's start there. Come on. 1v1 me, high level concept before we get into detail, is really good. I like it. It swings to your competitive nature. But it's TPP. Is this now more telling that we're going TPP?
Great concept, absolute terrible execution by PUBG. Yeah. It's the same old recycled. They could have done so much with it. Honestly, it could have been so much fun. Different maps, whatever. Just so everyone knows, it is patch 34.1.
Yeah.
But yeah, the 1v1 mode, really lackluster. You can use links in there, for example. You get double HP and TPP. So, for me, terrible.
I like it. I do like it.
Great concept.
Yeah. Because it's been there for a while now, hasn't it? But no one really goes to the training modes. You kind of go there, you get warmed up, and you go straight to scrims or to event, right? This opens the door for people like me that gets excited. We could have 1v1 tournaments, but I just need it to be tightened up, especially while we're still in that PvE world. It needs to be tightened up. But I do like the concept. Let's talk cars as well. Rebalance on the cars.
Fantastic. Fantastic.
We've
been asking this for a long time. Obviously, we have faster acceleration on Dacia, stuff like that. We got trunks, massive change, right? Yeah. I do think the Murado's a little bit OP. I was practicing with it yesterday. 150 space in the Murado, and it's so fast. A little bit too much, I think, but awesome. Can fit EPs in there. We might see more Panzers nowadays. Panzer in each one of them, you can fit them in. So, but the biggest change, honestly, is the acceleration speed and max speed of some of these vehicles. You're no longer a potato when you get in the Dacia. It takes 2 years to start.
And the next round.
Yeah.
The acceleration is key, right? So a lot of them have gone down. The only one that hasn't, that's been nerfed, is the cop car. The pillar car, they call it.
That thing was OP anyway.
But it's only on one map anyway, right? So the pillar car has been slightly reduced. But yeah, I like the trunk space. And I kind of like it because you guys have already started using it. Because
it's great.
You see shields go in there. You see people like moving things in and out. That's good. Having more, I'm kind of intrigued to see how, especially in the scrims that we're doing at the moment, how much more you guys are going to be carrying, how much more time are you going to be looting.
It makes a massive difference, really, really.
End game's going to be, that's going to really change the end game, I feel. If you can get a car to the end game, because you're pretty fast, you can get there, But if you've got deployable shields, panzers, or other weapons,
just nades, right? The amount of more smokes that you can fit in your car now. Before you had to have UAZ, right? So now you can just fit like 5 in there. 4, I think it's 4. No, 4. 4 nades in there. 100 Dacia. So
it's insane.
It's a lot. So it makes a big difference.
I do like it.
It's a great change, I think, because it just made the other cars really bad. One other thing, the HP of the buggy has been increased on the tyres. So maybe they take 1 extra shot. Makes it a lot.
Still my favourite vehicle, but I know it's the worst vehicle to rotate in.
It is. It definitely is, yeah.
I think I get distracted because the wheels are going up and down. Yeah. But it's a good change. It's a good change. I think this one's gone a little bit under the radar from a lot of people. I don't think people have really appreciated this just yet, especially the trunk system. I think people have seen the speed and gone, oh my God, the speed.
Oh, yeah.
I think the trunk system for a lot of like middle to low tiers, I think it'll take a little bit more time. Obviously, you pro guys are already on it. So I definitely feel like this is one to watch.
I would say overall it's a fantastic patch. The 1v1 mode is seriously, they could have done so much better at that. Another big update is the 7.62 ammo.
I'm about to say, let's talk weapons.
We're going to see a lot more nades now on people using 7.7s. So
will this be the return of 7.62s? Like, because we had the kind of back in the day, everyone was running the barrel SLR, right? And then obviously the MK, the AUG, all come into play, and 5 being a lot lighter.
Yeah.
I saw a huge shift. They restored the characters that had the 7.62. They kept that gun. They knew how to harness it.
Yeah.
But majority of people moved over.
Yep.
Are we going to see people now starting to transition back? The barrel's making a big return.
Well, really, I was testing it yesterday. The 7s ain't that much heavier now.
Really?
Yeah. And now we can talk about the MK nerf, because that also affects 5s quite considerably, right?
MK was the one.
The MK was the one with knocking off people's helmets, whatnot. It used to double tap over quite a long range, but they've nerfed that considerably. It doesn't feel too bad still. It still feels okay, but there was a 10% nerf on vert and horizontal recoil, I believe.
And that's the big thing for me with the MK. It was the mini with the grip. And
exactly.
If you were good with a mini and you put a grip on it, you was insane with the MK. The nerf, I think, might sway people back more to either the mini, 1, or 2, back to 7.62. So I think it's a space to watch. Shotguns.
Yeah.
Let's talk shotguns. Come on. Before we even get down to the realms of panzers, they're adjusting the shotguns again.
I didn't think they need nerfing. I think it was kind of stupid. That's the one change in this, which is kind of stupid in my eyes. It's just... There was no need. You still one-pump people.
Yeah.
If you get lucky enough to get a crate DPS in a city ending, you're just one-shotting people across the map
distance
now.
as well. Yeah. The insane distance you can put on it.
Yeah.
Is it a pick-up item? If you see it in the drop, is it a go-to now? Is it like
if
a
in
must?
the city, why not? But other than that, it's still kind of irrelevant, right?
Look at that. Recoil adjustment on the MK, 10%. Horizontal, 10%. Damage overall distance has been
that's
reduced.
the big one.
That's mental. Look at that. The headshot, one body shot by 30% from 180 meters to 83.
It makes a big difference because you used to pop people's helmets from really far away, and that's why it was so OP.
Yeah. Shotgun, there you go. Yeah,
Yeah.
It's just insane. It's just going to be interesting to see these back in. I don't know what I prefer worst, the shotguns or the Panzer, but obviously the spawn rates have been adjusted and reduced, but I still think in the hands of the right person in the city, I think we'll see shotguns, especially for those city endings. Everyone's going to be scrabbling around to pick up those shotguns at the end. Big update though. I do think it's a positive update.
Yeah.
Rotation of the world, there's been a couple of changes. I like the filling in the trenches that have been happening. I do like the little adjustments they're kind of tweaking to the maps. I think that's good.
Yeah, for sure. Gas stations as well is another big change for competitive, as we can see here. Allows you to refuel your cars. There is a bug right now that you can pick it up and put it into your trunk, which is kind of crazy.
I saw people when they had on Milta, they popped it up on the glove face.
So you can, there's a little bit buggy there, but overall that's a fantastic change, and they should have done that sooner, basically. No more running out of gas. No more excuses for running out of gas on a angle.
I love it. Mobile. I saw it the other day. I was like, what is that? And I zoomed into it. I was like, you guys are taking the mick. You guys are taking a mobile fuel station. Full gas stations update. I think, it does make sense. Like, make it interactable. And obviously explosive as well. So if people who actually do hit it, they can, it is destructive as well. We already spoke about the 1v1 arena. I like it. Just to summarise up on it, I think it's good. I think the execution, It would have been nice to have an FPP, TPP mode on it, or the option to have the mode. And I actually like that you can do it as a custom game as well.
Yeah. The custom game's good, but as we said earlier, the execution is horrific. Exactly the same. 200% HP. Just, I mean.
Do you think they'll go back and change it?
Honestly, I hope so, because it could be really, really fun. Really fun. If they made that FPP, no crate weapons, different map, the map's too small, it could be really fun. Really good fun.
Well, do a short plug for Bing Esports, because they've got their LAN event coming up at Gamescom as well. So I'll get some content out. I'll get it put in the description below. Get signed up. It's pretty cheap to get signed up, but it's obviously a LAN. They are on the Friday are doing solos and duos. They could also on a solo, if this was right, they could do something like this. They could.
Well, in the custom mode, you might be able to change the settings. I've not looked.
I've looked at it a little bit,
yeah.
But it says here like it's limited. There's no much more. It's just been added, and the observer feature's available. Great, I can swing the camera around. That's about it. So
yeah.
I'm excited from a caster point of view that I could potentially watch a 1v1, not from a FPP or TPP view as well. Rank season change. We've got some new skins. All exciting. All normal bits and pieces. Really. Anything else more to talk about?
Nope, that was about it for the patch. Good patch overall.
I do think it's a good patch. I do generally think it is a good patch. I just want to see more. Let's put this back up. I want to see more. We can come back to the other bits and pieces that are in there in a bit. Cool. Obviously, let us know what your thoughts are of the patch as well. Let us know what your thoughts are on the 1v1 modes. I'd love to see tournaments as well. So again, please just keep feeding back. Comment below based on that. Anyway, moving on. Let's talk news. Player moves and shakes, whispers. T-bone takes. There's a lot of T-bone takes that we need to get into, really.
Yeah.
Let's kick things off with some of the people that we've seen. So, it'll be rude to me. Let's start with PWD squad, right? BTS, as they're called.
BTS, yep.
The rumour is their name's going to change. They haven't got a logo, hence why they've not got a logo. Where they're going, what they're doing, not quite sure. Those that don't know, Quizzy, PWD, Spyro, and Diffix, insane roster. And they've been performing pretty well. They're really good at closing circles down.
Yep.
A team in the EU potentially that could be a contender for you boys?
Definitely. Really good squad. Good squad. Obviously, it's going to be interesting to see how it all works with them, but they're all really great players. Everyone knows I rate Diffix really high. I think he was one of the best players in Na'Vi, for example, before they changed. So really interesting to see what that squad does, honestly. I think they have a good chance to be in one of the top squads in EU, and it will be interesting to see if they manage to get an org or how that works out. Time will tell.
I can't turn the AC off, by the way, Chris. FYI. It's not playing ball, but hopefully it's okay. Anyway, I'll come back to that in a second. I think time will tell with that one. I think at the moment the Scrims are looking pretty solid. They're looking good. I do like what they are doing, how they're rotating. They're quite an aggressive team as well. So be interested to see how that develops. Obviously, the big shout with Diffix going there as well. The backfill with Boostic into Na'Vi. Not seeing Na'Vi too much in the Scrims. They kind of dip in and dip out at the moment. And I'd argue to say their performance is okay. It's not super strong at the moment.
I would say they've been pretty mediocre recently. I don't know, since changing Boostic, I don't think too much has changed. I mean, Boostic is mechanically really good. Diffix, though, mechanically really good, much more experience. Yeah. So I don't know if there's some sort of weird, thing going on there. If I was in Na'Vi, I definitely wouldn't have changed Diffix, but I don't know the internal situation.
Yeah.
I still think Sosa D was the one to change, but maybe he's the IGL. I don't know. Maybe they have something going on there.
Team, to be fair, I know they're all solid. They're all really strong contenders. Yeah. It's just an interesting dynamic. I would have I don't know Sosa D too much, right? But I would have taken Diffix, Hakatori, Boostic, like those three.
It would have been an insane squad.
Insane combo.
In favourist, obviously.
But again, are they going to perform? I think there'd be all eyes on Boostic this year, whether he can perform. If Na'Vi get LAN, I'd expect him to get LAN, let's be honest.
Yeah, they should be global partner, right? So they're 100% going to LAN.
We'll have to wait and see. Yep. Let's talk about global partner teams. So obviously it's still up in the air. The 20th of February, that's the day that we are going to figure out when the global partner teams get announced, right? And the biggest thing for me here is the region. Now, we spoke about last time in the pilot about Team Liquids.
Yeah.
TSM we bigged up and then they completely done a swerve ball on us and they just dropped and then off they went. my logic is TSM is going to be Team Liquid. Will Team Liquid become the global partner team?
Yep.
But more importantly, what region? Because logically, Sonics will become Falcons. Falcons then become global partner team. Team Liquid should arguably also get global partner team out in the Americas region. That reduces their slot by 1 though.
Yep, that's true. So obviously we know Tiggerton Team Sonics going Falcons. I do see them getting global partner 100%. I don't think PUBG ever allow TIG not to have global partner. That's just a simple fact in my eyes. So I think that one's 100% secured. So we will see Falcons as GPT. Now Liquid, obviously old TSM squad. There is rumours that Liquid's coming back. So that's going to be interesting. I have 2 different opinions on Liquid getting global partner or not. One is the team itself, Purdy and the boys, they deserve it, right? They was the most consistent team last year.
Yeah.
I would say qualified to every LAN, did really good. So I would say that the actual team deserves global partner. But in my eyes, giving Liquid GPT would be a real kick in the balls to every other org that's been supporting the game non-stop. Like all these Chinese orgs, for Ascend, goes on and on. Yeah. I think it'd be really, really a shame and really a mistake from PUBG to put Liquid as GPT.
It'd be difficult. I kind of get the logic, right? So I like Team Liquid. I'm a fan.
Yeah.
They have been in PUBG. Get it? I understand. But I also see your side that actually, if they do come back, it is a bit of kick in the teeth. If they do come back and they don't make global partner, right? Because there is a variable that might happen. PUBG might go, do you know what? Yes, the community's right, or we think you guys need to put at least a 6-month stint in or a 12-month stint in before we even consider you for global partner. Maybe they become global partner next year, whatever, right? The biggest thing for me is where do they end up? My logic is they're going to be an America's team and operate out of there.
If it's Liquid, they'll take that TSM squad. That's the only squad. That's one of the best squads in the world.
There's no one else really, because they've got to every single event.
Yeah, it would make sense for them to take them. But I just hope that they do not give them GPT just for that fact. And like you just said there, I think if they told them, 6 months first, 1 year first, and then you can get GPT, I'd be fine with it. They've been in PUBG before. They're a massive org. It's just the fact that if they give it an org that hasn't been supporting the game for 3-4 years now, GPT, I think it's a real shockwave effect. Let's just say that with all the other orgs, and it's really disrespectful. So it's going to be interesting.
It's difficult. Look, let's not take anything away. TSM 100% deserve to be picked up.
100%. The squad, 100%. I would say 100% deserve GPT. If anyone deserves it, they deserve it.
And my logic is they'll still get back to the lands anyway, because their team's pretty solid, and they've not made any changes that we can see apart from they've been dropped, or they've dropped, either or. TSM have exited, but that, for them not being picked up is a bit of a kick, but I think they'll still be there. The Americas region has 3 slots. Obviously, if they had a global partner team, that becomes 2. That'd be the same as our region. That becomes tougher to get in. I think the 20th is going to be a big day. Obviously, there should be other changes in the APAC region, the Asia Pacific region. I don't really see a change in our region. I think there's an argument. Did Na'Vi do enough? I think they've done okay.
I think overall they're going to keep all the GPT teams the same. My take is obviously plus Falcons, plus T1. I think they're just going to add more Korean orgs. And then the last one, Liquid or Asian org. That's my take right there.
T-bone take. I do like it. Look, we can speculate for hours. We could talk about global partner teams for a long time because there's so many variables. And then if you put a global partner team in one region, that reduces a slot, that makes it tougher.
It's a knock-on effect,
It's as I said to you on the pilot, and we talk about this quite a bit, I still think there should be a completely separate avenue. The global partner teams need to expand out, have more of them, or have global partner teams and maybe have a regional teams. And the regional teams and the global partner teams go head-to-head. And out of that, X amount of them will go forward to a certain stage, which is normally the invite section, right? And then all of the other people that are qualifying, the open quals, the chaos that involves open qualifiers, they will then meet that point. That is a good level of risk for a global partner team that they still need to perform because they might lose their slot going to a LAN.
Yep. Well, I have two like little game plans which I think would be beneficial, right? One is that they have they add up all the EU events per year, and then that's how they base GPT for EU. So the top 3 teams from EU get GPT the next year. So that's one avenue. The second avenue would be basically what you just said. Basically have like separate them a little bit, because let's be honest, we take last year, Twisted Minds, last tournament, they could literally come last place, killed, for example, us every single game, hot dropped us, and they would still be qualified to PGS and PGC.
Yeah.
So they literally just played that with zero risk. They could just do whatever they wanted, and that system is stupid, let's be honest.
Yeah, they just need a little bit of risk. I get it. Maybe if they don't qualify, they're still getting an element of money, right? Because that's what they're getting. They're getting guaranteed revenue in for the year, right?
What they could do, I just thought of this now, that if they only get the guaranteed qualification to PGS if they come top 8.
You could divide it up so many ways.
Yeah.
Like for me, I'd like to see more of an expansion. Like let's put our business out. Right? PUBG want to attract orgs back to playing PUBG, advertising PUBG, making it more well known, right? Especially with the changes they're talking about, the Unreal Engine, etc. To do that, they need to be able to give these orgs money, right? They need to be able to go, hey, there's a guarantee. So that's PUBG sell. Now, on the problem with that is the tier 2, tier 3 scene have very small slots. If we look at our region, we've got 2 slots to get in. You miss by 1 place, right?
Every time, yeah.
And it's crazy. So I think if we could either put regional teams together, so teams like maybe for Ascend, etc., that we know that they're well rehearsed in our region and other regions, they have their own. And we have maybe global partner teams, regional teams, and they duke it out for a period of time, or they have like their own. I don't know. I reckon you could easily get 24 teams. Like they could have their own qualifying routine, and maybe we keep a larger amount of them compared to the open qualifiers, because it should be tougher to go through open qualifiers. And they will then meet at a certain point at the event. And my logic is those invitational events. When you come in at that point, you're just adding a couple more games beforehand.
Yeah.
And I think there's a good level of risk that was used Twisted Minds example. They couldn't hot drop you every single time. Not that they have. They couldn't hot drop you every single time because if they don't perform and they don't get through, we don't see them at PGSs. They don't get the points for PGC. So I think I like what global partners are doing. I like that it's an introduction. I like the avenue PUBG's going. I still think there's another step, another evolution to this.
For sure. Like anyone that disagrees with global partner, I personally think is wrong. I think the global partner system is needed, but as you say, there needs a further evolution to, I don't know, boost the next scene or just make it a little bit more fair.
Yeah. We'll wait and see. We'll wait and see on that one. But yeah, the 20th of February, that's the day that you guys need to keep an eye on. My logic is from the 20th as well. It's when we start to hear about events, because PEC's got to kick off soon. I've not heard anything on my side, so I don't know anything. I don't know any dates. There's nothing come through. But we've got to open up the doors. So PEC for us, PAS for the Americas region. Obviously,
meant to be in March. That's the only thing we know, right?
We've seen the Vietnam series kicking off. We've seen China events already kicking off as well. So we're always late to the running. But I suppose it's good to talk because we've now seen people return. Twisted Minds have now returned back to Scrimming.
Now back in Scrims,
which is another good advantage because the one we recorded before they weren't about, but now they are about. I did actually speak to Batul and Sasha, and he was like, look, we took 2 months out completely. We've played other games. We just completely switched off from PUBG just to kind of reset. I think that's the right, good use of the time, right? He's like, Perfectis is the only one that we couldn't get the switch off. He's been practicing, playing as much as he can. So we saw the first return of them. They didn't do that well, let's be honest, but they need to get the rust off.
Oh yeah, for sure.
But how quickly have they got the rust off? It has been
it's Twisted Minds, right? They've got example on the squad. They can just do whatever and just win scrims, no problem.
They literally have been. They play well. They've played well. The first day was interesting. They were getting caught out slightly, but then since then they've kind of shaken off the rust, so to speak, and they feel like they're back in full swing. I think scrims have been interesting. I think it's worth talking about scrims because you guys have had good and bad days as well. It feels for me there's a competitive edge about compounds at the moment. People are trying to fight for new spots.
I hope so.
Quite aggressively.
I hope so. I hope that's one thing what meta changes in EU is people actually have the balls to crash compounds. Instead of just dying in the field, rotating, just go crash someone. And we have been seeing that more. You see it a lot in Asia region, right? Yeah. So I'm hoping that does actually change because that opens up the game for everyone else as well.
That's the biggest thing. And that's kind of that, I think EU's always been balanced. The EMEA region has been balanced. We like to fight in the open. We can play open train really, really well. but we get knocks in compounds, but it feels like sometimes we don't capitalise on that knock. We don't see the push happen. Some people do. There are some really good people. Pixel, for me, is one of those big examples. He's quite happy to crash the compound if needed. And there are quite a few round our region that do produce a knock crash. It definitely feels like an America's style, though.
Oh, yeah, America's are
I think it's even pre-knock. If the helmet comes off, they're crashing. He's lost the helmet, we are crashing the compound. Do you think that's why there's a big divide? I know we spoke about this in the pilot, but why there's a big gap between the top-tier teams in Americas versus kind of that mid-pack, low-pack compared to us? Is it because we like to stay alive for longer?
No, personally, I just think they're way worse.
Oh, here we go.
This is my take. Honestly, I think the bottom 8 teams of America is worse than the last 8 teams in groups in EU.
Okay, that's quite high up.
So 16 to 24 is like even better than the 8 to 16.
That's crazy.
But obviously, the top 8 America teams are good.
Yeah.
Don't get me wrong. They easily match EU. The Sonics, the old TSM, whatever.
Yeah.
Well, Falcons now. Sorry.
Yeah, can't say Sonics anymore.
Can't say Sonics.
They've gone, mate.
Yeah, Falcons. Them guys are great. So don't get me wrong in saying they're worse, but because they're not. But yeah, the EU region's way stronger.
For those that might have missed, just to why is it rest in peace, Sonics? Sonics folded up coming at the beginning of this year, but the Falcons had dropped their team just beforehand, and they picked up the whole Sonics team. As we said before, we think global pilot team. It just makes sense, and even from a business point of view, like they will be going to EWC.
Oh yeah, for sure.
With a big point to prove.
Falcons is massive, so they get GPT for sure. But that also leads into the old Falcons roster, right? We did see Flood tweet out that he's going to be focusing on IRL. He is going to be playing in APAC region, I believe, but I don't think he's taken full focus on it, focusing more on IRL.
That's a big loss.
Yeah, big loss. He was a good player. Roth has made a new team. I'm not too sure.
So you kind of. Poor Michael. God bless Michael. Michael and the guys were playing underneath the Friendly Fire banner because Roth was there before he moved to Falcons, right? But because Roth owns the Friendly Fire name, whatever you want to call it, he's come back and gone, okay, I'm taking it back. So he's taken back the name. That's why the Beer Fellas have arrived again.
Oh, yeah.
Great name. And obviously Michael's playing obviously not in the Friendly Fire team, so he has gone back to, he's in a new team, he's just gone back to
so it's Friendly
name.
Fire, okay. And what's that squad now?
Shall we look? I actually don't know who's playing with them fully, but we can have a look because we can bring up Twire.
Ooh, nice.
We have all of this information. He would have been playing do we know what this the league's called? There you are. There's a series. There's obviously a league that's out in the Americas region, and if I'm correct, Friendly Fire did top it.
Oh yeah.
And there we go. Yeah, so it is
Cowboy Rello. I don't know who that other guy is.
He's one I don't know. Yes, Cowboy. He's such a good young gunner.
Really good.
Strong. Rello's strong player. Roth obviously coming back in IGL in there as well. So 150 points. Closest to them was 101. This is a series that I think is on break at the moment. It's a league that's been put out from one of the SA guys for the Americas region, and I think Monday and Tuesday is like the top division, and then like Wednesday and Thursday is like a lower division. But that's why we see the Beer Fellas have arrived again, or the Fellas have arrived again. But
I do feel Roth can pretty much make any squad work, so that'll be interesting.
Yeah, I do think
he's done it before, so
he's a strong. I think he gets a bit of stick. I think he gets a bit of stick personally.
Oh, that's a good one. K-Mine's back as well.
Yeah.
Interesting. That's interesting for you guys as well. K-Mine has returned after a long break. He's been gone for 3 years, 4 years now.
Yeah.
Which is kind of crazy.
Mine performing with BST, they pulled a 4th. It's not bad. Not bad.
Interesting.
Let's talk Scrim. So we are talking about players and stuff. Let's go back to the Scrim because we do have some questions which we'll come back to a little bit about you guys. You guys topped Scrims the other day. Land Dodgers, give the community the context. Why is Land Dodgers? Why are you playing underneath the meme?
Okay. So Land Dodgers obviously is a little bit of a meme. There's two sides of the story, right? One is a meme. We dodged every land by like one placement last year.
Yesterday? Jeez,
yesterday.
That was a good day.
We dodged it by one placement. Obviously, like 2 PGSs we dodged, whatnot. It sucks. So that's part of the meme. And the other part is, start of the year, contracts being reworked, things are happening, and that's how I'll just leave it at that, shall I?
Well, yeah, you could play underneath foot, you could play under land dodge. It makes no difference.
Yeah, it makes no difference. It's Scrims, it's a bit of fun. It's a meme. And and things are being worked out at the start of the year. Same for all these other teams. I'm sure, negotiations are going on and whatnot. So
yeah. Again, some people are still playing on the same remit. Let's talk about some of the movers and shakers though. Monodoct obviously going to Bet.1 team.
Really strong player.
Good pick.
He's a really strong mechanical player. We trialled him for a little bit. Obviously, that was in English, so it didn't fit perfectly. But in Russian, he might be insane. He's a really great player. One of the best. Good. I personally think one of the best barrel players in the world. So that would definitely be an interesting little pickup right there.
Is Monodoct a level up from Spyro? I think that for me, I'll answer that. So I think they're kind of the same. I don't know whether it's a synergy with the team, and maybe that comes down to comms. I don't know, but
mechanically, I would say yes. I think Monodoc's better. Experience-wise, not sure.
Yeah, it's an interesting one. I think it's a team to watch. BB team now. Yeah. I do think they're a team to watch. They're like you guys. They're kind of nearly there, not there. Get disconnected by power supply.
I mean, they've been playing well, right? I do rate them one of the best teams to close out circles. They have been really strict and really, what's the word? Just competent at closing out circles. So I definitely think that is a team to watch going forward with Molodok coming in. Definitely going to be interesting. On the next list, FaZe changing coach now. Yeah, so for those that don't know, Mixie's now a coach. There's a lot of talk around, do they need coach, they need analyst. Obviously he's an analyst, isn't he, technically? He's a good player. He's really a good player. And I think there's some advantages to that. And this is maybe a T-bone take, potentially borderline question, but they could swap out any player any time and put him in. Like the coaching staff could step up at any time. So this is a full T-bone take here, so take it with a grain of salt, everyone. I personally think that if FaZe Clan do bad at PGS or whatever, I don't think they'd change before PGS, that they actually swap one player for Mixie.
I can see it. I genuinely can see it. And does that put fire on the heat of the other team, potentially?
It forces them all to play, right? So if anyone underperforms, not playing, not grinding, I would say, it gives them an option, because James and Mexi have played a long time before, together. So I think that's a T-bone take. I think it's a possibility, and I think it might happen.
He could slot in.
I do think he could slot in. I think I don't know. It'd be interesting to see.
I'd be interested to see him as an analyst / coach. Breaking things down. I do think he'll be. I don't know. Maybe give for me. Like you guys might not be able to see it, but we'll put some screenshots up. But the biggest thing for me for FaZe, and definitely in the last part of last year, is they struggle to get placement. Whether that's them rotating in, whether that's them getting caught with fights they shouldn't be getting. They can put kills on the board, and they can get really good placement based upon their kills. But they struggle to get placement, and they're a team I would not expect to be closing out circles, getting the win. They just can't get there at the moment.
We'll see if Mexi can change that, or if it's the T-bone take comes true.
We'll wait and see. The other one I want to talk about very quickly is Ascend. It's part of the EU scrim. We still talk about this offline. So it's Chris. In this scrim, obviously they attended. They didn't do too bad, but they're okay. But after that, they didn't attend the pro scrims anymore, but they were actively signing up. So Ascend have actively been signing up to the tier or the lobby 1. So for those that don't know, the EMEA PUBG scrims, the EU PUBG scrims, they normally house about 5 different lobbies most days, right? But one of the lobbies, guys, is like the pro tier team. You have to be invited. It's on the event service, etc., which Ascend have access to. But they're actively taking a step down. That would sound bad. Taking a step down to go to the next lobby. Because they want to work on closing the circle. But it worries me, mate, because when I looked at their performance the other day, on the beginning of the week, they really struggled to get into placement. Now, it looks like they're picking things up, but if I was to go back the early part of the week, like for me, Ascend should be getting into a top 4, but they're 12th, 15th. Like they got a third, they got a fifth, they got a third. That's what they need to be doing if they are playing the strat. But it's only recently got this good now in the top 4. You look back on the scrims a couple of days beforehand, struggling to get into a top 8 position.
The thing is, with when I'm seeing stuff like this, is when you're in the second lobby, it's so much easier to close out games. When you're up against a Boostic, a Diffx, you know, all these squads, which are just going to absolutely dominate you across the map, versus some of these other guys, which might not have as much experience. They don't take the right angles, etc. They haven't got the team play so refined. It's a lot easier. So, not to see Ascend top out the lobby consistently, at least 50% of the time in first or second in lobby 1 should be their goal. So if they haven't been getting that,
it's I'm trying to find some of the dates, mate. So you agree you think the strategy is not going to work. I get the logic. I do get the logic, right? And like this to me was the better day of them all, where they got second, they got fifth, they got a second. Yeah, they had a 16th place. They that to me is kind of what they want. But when I look back on like the week commencing on the way in, like they struggled really badly to get in, and it was maybe. And obviously there's a lot of circle, unfortunate with circle rotation. I get all of that, but do you think this is the wrong strategy for them then?
I mean, I don't think it's that bad to do every now and then, but consistently, I think it's not a good idea because you get unrealistic expectations of where you could rotate.
Yeah.
In a different game, you'll have Boostic or someone sitting in the compound, and then he would just kill you when you drive in.
Yeah.
Whereas these guys might not. There'll be no one there. You know.
I think this one screams to that because they did top the lobby on the scrims, right? And they got a third place. They got a 6th. They got a 12th. They got 11th. They got a 17th. They got a 2. They literally topped the lobby based upon kills. So I think that does really play into what you're saying. The unrealistic potential.
Yeah,
rotation.
unrealistic. I mean, it can boost confidence if they're topping the lobby. So if it works for them, it works for them.
I think it'll be an interesting one to watch.
Yeah,
it's definitely a different. And Ascend are well known for doing different styles of training or rotations. They like to hold the edge a lot of the time. That's how they are. That's okay. I think that's partly why, personally, they struggle to get in. But I can only see top down. I can't hear what the comms are saying. I can't see what their plan thoughts are as much. I just think they struggle from the outside edge to get in, especially if the zone shifts away. But maybe it is a boost. Maybe it is just a confidence thing. Maybe just trying to top the lobbies and just getting ready for a winning mentality. Because there is positive. I do kind of get what Chris is saying, but I just worry that Ascend might not be able to convert that to
we'll see.
Top tier.
We'll see if it works out for them. But personally, I think there was already a team that did a lot of random, in my eyes, silly, stupid things. You know, I really dislike their game style and play. You just see them in outside circle blue all the time. But it'll be interesting. Interesting to see. Maybe they can make it work.
Let's talk about some of the other teams, though. Obviously, this was Scrims the other day. You guys performing quite well. Struggled on placement a bit. Obviously, getting the kills in, but got back the second. VP looking strong. Nixie looking stronger than ever. That squad's, I still think, is a huge contender now for this year. I do think
we're going to see, yeah. We're going to see if they can be consistent, right? Last year, there was a bit wavy, up and down. They had a good PGC performance. We'll see. Definitely a strong squad individually, you know, all of them guys. One thing I will say about looking at this, look how many CIS players. Win or Die, Twisted Minds, you got Bet Boom, you got Solo, Vorpal Swords, BTS, Gaming Gladiators, Fairy Tale. Literally over half the lobby CIS.
Yeah.
Which is crazy, you know. Them guys are... And are they CIS?
Not all, but some. We've got a split. Obviously, we've got a Turkish there as well. It's difficult, but it is a strong part of our region. They do play a certain way. Quick question before we move on to the CIS though, but VP, would you see VP changing one more player? Or do you think they're set now for this year? Do you think they're going to see one more year out?
If there is the potential to change, they would change Ibi, I believe. But I don't know. I think they're just going to wait and see how it goes.
Okay.
It'd be interesting to see in a proper lobby if they can perform the same. I think they're very what's the word? Confidence, momentum-based team. So if they start doing well, get some really nice circles, 100%. Then Nixie just, you know, he's cracked mechanically. Let's be honest, he's really good. So I do see them just playing off that momentum really, really strongly, and you know, doing well. But if they start off rough, we've seen it, and they just get absolutely destroyed.
We've seen it far too many times.
Yeah.
Far too many times. They've been quite consistent at the end, getting the end placement, give or take, on if we look at the lands. But if they start a day, especially on land, bad,
it just goes terribly.
They just gone. You got to cry if you got them in your fantasy team at that point. It'd be an interesting one. I think part of the rumours, my thought process might be the same. I think he's a great player, IGL wise. Do they need an IGL? I think they got the analyst.
Does he even IGL? I thought Luke Rocks
does now. Yeah. just find that home. I'd like them to stay as they are though for a year. Personally, for myself, I think they'd be.
They would stay for now, and then if they do bad, maybe they'll change.
Let's take out though Na'Vi. Let's say they get global partner team and Twisted Minds, global partner team, right? Take them out, right? And FaZe are in the thing. Like, look at what we've got here. VP could qualify. You guys could qualify. Win or Die arguably have got close to qualifying before. Secure Centum might have a bang. They're a bit hot and cold sometimes. BB team. Eternal Fire seem to always qualify somehow. Like they get through in the last game. The Turkish luck, the red flag, last game victory. There are so many players here that could potentially, we not even touch Gaming Gladiators as well. Yep. All of which potentially, Fairy Tail improving at the moment, month
Win
on
or
month.
Die. So my top squads right now, if I had to choose, VP, us, Win or Die, Bet Boom, Eternal Fire.
100%.
Gaming Gladiators are normally good. BTS is a potential, and that's where I would start. And you just think that's more than them teams right there, just better than most NA teams.
It was so close as well.
And we're fighting for 2 spots.
Yeah, and that's what worries me. Because we could easily put 4 names up comfortably that could qualify through, but we're fighting for 2, which means and this is the downside to the format for those that don't know, you'll be going through a regional qualifiers, and once you qualified based on the slots, so we have 2 slots in our region, the EMEA region. There's technically 3 at the moment in the Americas, but as of the 20th, we will find out where the slots are confirmed up, right? You got to remember that these people will be fighting for 2 slots. Some of these will have to go through open qualifiers. Some teams will be confirmed as they will come in at a certain point. Anything can happen in regional qualifiers. Anything can happen in the late games. And then you could throw in the mixed global partner teams that could do anything they want to.
Because they're already qualified.
Yeah. So it's a very difficult region. And if you don't qualify, you've got half a year out. Just shy of half a year.
Yep, well, a few months at least, 3-4 months, yeah.
Yeah.
Which sucks.
Qualification will get you to both lands. You get to land 2 lands, basically 1 and 2. Obviously, in this case, we go through the PGS region. There's some week gap in between. I do think Scrims are interesting at the moment. I plan to get on some more. Actually, I think I'm going to do it tonight as well. My event tonight has not gone ahead, so I might be able to do this, which is good. Lots to be taken, lots of movement on Scrims. Don't read into too much of Scrims, guys, because people are trying things. Yep. Things are rotation. There is Game 6 antics always.
Yeah, always, yeah.
It doesn't matter how hard you tell these guys to play properly, they still don't. But there's a lot of takeaways, a lot of things to look into. There's a lot of players to keep an eye on when it comes down to that. Anyway, moving on, should we say, as I bring my mouse back. Other rumours, other movers and shakers. We spoke about Molodoc. We spoke about Na'Vi to a degree. I agree. They're just not performing at the moment. They're doing okay. We spoke about BTS, which are doing okay. Not on this one, though, for whatever reason. But there are a lot of other movers, though, in the region, isn't there?
Outside of the region.
Yeah.
So we'll start off with one of them, Genji. Full new roster. Not a star roster, I would say, compared to previous rosters. But if anyone didn't realise, it is Tosi, Orca, Americano, and Bean. Now, you can keep up to date on the PUBG Twitter, I believe, PUBG Esports Twitter. Esports. They post most of them on there. I see that roster doing so-so. That's how I'd put them, so-so team.
It's an interesting take, because I think you have such a valid point here. Genji, massive name.
Yeah.
Expectation, massive pickups.
Yeah.
Delivered.
I think that Korean region is just, they can't get all the best players on the same team, personality-wise or something, Salute, I think, is one of the best players in the whole game. And he's always on a team which is mediocre compared. So maybe there's something going on there, but interesting. Obviously, we did see Danoa leave. That's the org has gone. They have disbanded. We've seen their players move to different directions. I don't think it's all finalised yet, but we will see that soon enough. One of the big ones, obviously, we've got to talk about it, Pero.
Yeah. I think that team is going to clean up this region.
Who is it? Who's on there?
Huh?
Who's on there?
Well, you know the big boys are on there. Axe Left and the boys. But for me, I think there's a question between them and ADG when they come head to head. Yeah. Like, who is going to perform at those two teams? Like, we've been lucky enough to see a bit, because obviously we're getting some stuff recasted in the UK.
Yeah.
So if Saga is doing it, Koho's done a couple as well. There is another one. I know Obi_Gods is doing it that you can watch.
Yeah, he's doing it.
But there's a couple more which are doing coverage, which is really good. I think this region is going to be insane.
Mechanically, they're insane, right, Pero? Let's just be...
Are they going to sweep the main stage, though?
If they can make it work, yes. So if anyone didn't realise, we just go is Ming, Nan, Axe left, and I believe Summer is staying. So that's going to be the roster. Mechanically...
I didn't know he was staying. I thought he was on the move, but okay.
Maybe. I don't know. Maybe Summer's 50-50. Let's just say that. I haven't seen the official news yet on that side of things. But mechanically, best team in the game.
Yes.
No questions asked. Best team in the game, whole roster-wise. Axe left is already insane. Ming, everyone knows, insane. Nan, insane.
I think they're all going to gel together as well. Axe left is just... if you've got him on your fantasy team, he's performing. Yeah. That's why, for me, just as a single player, he's going to perform, right? Yeah. Obviously, that whole APAC region, the China region, I do worry a bit about full confidence. But I also, on the flip side of my argument as well, is they kind of always play their own game style.
They do, yeah. They don't really care.
I feel like we adapt to how they play sometimes, and we get sucked into playing other teams' game styles and game plans. And the rate that these guys and girls move around at is insane. And then you take the top tier teams, you just enhance that. We spoke about crashing compounds. They're happy to, no questions asked. Like they will take an area if they want the area. Did they perform well last year though?
Not really, right?
This is a big change for them.
Lackluster. That's what I mean. It's mechanically the squad is insane. They are going to absolutely dominate most fights. But will there be the teamwork? Will there be the rotations? Will all that stuff work and click? If it does, easily contender for one of the top teams with Twisted, I would say. But that's something we've got to wait and see. It's really just a work in progress. Time will tell situation.
It's having AGG for me. I do think. I think one of the two of them will rise above the rest.
Yeah, 100%. I think AGG has more synergy already. I would say.
So would you back them over Petro?
Ceiling wise, probably not. But right now, synergy wise, probably team composition, maybe. Yeah.
I think they're being interesting. I'd go Petro. I just think Emming. Coming in with Axe left is just... I think the duo there is going to be insane.
The thing is, you just never know, right? You never know how the team chemistry is going to work.
Yeah.
Because it could just take one player just to not work out very well, and then that's the whole team gone.
And we spoke about momentum as well, right?
Yeah.
The momentum of some of these teams, and they need to get good games to start with. And there is a big mindset about health and performance and fitness and all of that. And we do have a question about it later. We'll go into a bit more, but... If you have a bad start, is the coaching staff going to be able to get them back on track for game one? Are they going to be able to reset? That's the one worry I have with those two teams, is that we've seen, especially Petrichor Road, is they don't, if they're having a bad day, they just can't recover it for some reason.
For sure.
Now with the additionals, is it going to be the case? I think Emming and Axe left will make really strong duo. Can they dig the team out the trenches if they need to? Potentially. I do think it's one to watch.
100% one to watch.
Definitely feel like Twisted Minds is mostly the best team at doing that, though, resetting. I think
Twisted Minds is still the best team in the world. I think arguably you look back at the last year, they win three events
back to back,
like, which is crazy. So no one can argue that they're not the best team in the world. They simply are. They are by far the best team. The others are all fighting for their spot. Obviously, they don't get so lucky in finals, PGC, whatnot. And there is some luck to it. I actually think they played pretty decent at PGC. I think they got really bad circles.
We spoke about it, didn't we?
Yeah.
I think you're right. And I think I want to add today, I think they had a level of expectation because they went back to back to back.
Yeah, for sure.
And then everyone's going, it's clear, it's the global championship. Everyone against Twisted Minds, they're going to be the winners. I think that added pressure there also didn't help with the conversion.
PUBG don't work like that. He's back to back to back, but you need some luck, you need some momentum, you need some confidence going in. It all adds up. All that little percentages add up.
And they've got the back end staff as well, haven't they? They've got analysts, they've got support there, coaching, etc. They've got a lot outside of what we see that a lot of teams don't have, and that does make a big difference between our orgs and our non-org teams. But they are really good at resetting. Really good at resetting every single round. Don't get me wrong, it's quite fun watching between smash a desk and like throw a headset around. But then they come back and it's like never happens. And then they're just back fighting again. So will Twisted Minds take the first event? It'll be interesting. It'd be interesting to see. Other news has been going on. I think we covered quite a bit of it, to be fair. There is loads. The problem with this time of year is there's a lot going on. There's a lot of movers, there's a lot of shakers. The best thing, as you mentioned already, is checking out the PUBG Esports Twitter page.
Yes, sir.
There's lots going on there. I really like the Wikipedia pages. They're a little bit slower, but when it updates, obviously you get to be able to sort of bounce about the teams a bit better. But generally speaking, there has been store movers and shakers. There is still potential movers and shakers. Do you think,
for sure.
Do you think we're going to have any more before we...
I think we're getting to the point now that it's going to be mostly locked in. But until the 20th, I think it's all up in the air still. Once we get to about 20th, I think most teams will be locked.
Okay, cool. Yeah. And for those who don't know, before an event, you have to lock in a team.
Yeah.
And this is why we see orgs come and go sometimes. So an org will pick up a team, especially if they're qualified, because they know they're going to the event. And then after the event, if they don't do well, the org then drops the team and then picks up another team. That's because these kind of transfer windows open up. I wish they would make the transfer windows a bit more public. It'd be quite cool, like transfer window opening up. We could do like a Sky Sports section. we could sit here with the Sky News. Anyway, moving on. I think it'd be good to transition across to question time. We have had loads of questions from the community. And I think some of this we've already covered a little bit. We can recap it. And there are some fun ones. There are some more serious ones. I do want to try and summarise a couple of these here because there are quite a few for you directly, which is fine. Okay. I'm not sad about that. It's all right. But let's start with some question time. So traditional AD 4116 on Reddit actually starts to speculate, especially around the rosters, scrimmers, land dodgers. Any reason behind that? We kind of covered already. So just to recap, obviously, land dodgers is a bit of a meme name.
Yep.
The guys are just waiting. It's quite normal this time of year. The contracts are getting locked in for teams, players, and orgs for the coming year. So, but what I do like, he does say, Diffix leaving Na'Vi and joining Spyro on a pretty stacked roster. It's probably going to be a talking point. I'd love to know the rumours you've heard or something about his exit. I don't have any rumours about his exit from Diffix. And do you think an org will pick this new roster up?
So the rumours about exit, no one has any clue. I actually don't know if he left or if they kicked him or what happened. No clue. Obviously, as you said, the roster is stacked. It'll be interesting to see. The org-wise, I personally not sure. Maybe they get an org. But really, most orgs are going to be waiting to see if you qualify. Like you just said, they wait for these teams to qualify because there's only 2 slots. No real point in picking up a team if not. So if they qualify, they'll get an org. If they don't qualify, maybe. I don't know. Depends on their connections, right?
Yeah. We've been asking for a logo, but they're not getting a logo. And I kind of maybe read into that a bit more that they might have something already, but it might be waiting for qualification. And we've seen teams change names. Mad Balls went to VP,
exactly.
etc. So it does happen. Given you're both British, as am I. Good. Yeah, you get that British flag up. The talent pool of British players is stacking up against other countries. Second part, is the talent pool deep enough for the British-related events? We do not have enough players in the UK for PUBG at a high tier level. We've got good tier 2, tier 3, but they're just not breaking through, are they, at the moment?
No, honestly, there really isn't that many British players. Obviously, we got me, Fex, Fard. I think Honey Badger still plays, Michael.
All NA though, NA.
Yeah. So honestly, there is good players in UK. Interestingly enough, most of them come from a game called War Z. Michael, me, Vard, Justy, Miraku, our coach. I think Fex even played it for a little bit, so that's kind of interesting. But yeah, there really isn't much players coming from UK. I don't know if that's just because ego stuff or
100%.
Or what. I think it is. It's a team game, and honestly, PUBG is crazy team level. You have to listen to your teammates. You have to trust them, and if you don't, you're not doing anything.
Blame culture.
Yeah, exactly. So I would love to see more UK players, don't get me wrong, but honestly,
it's not happening.
Yeah, it's not happening.
Do you know what? I know some really good guys, tier 3, I'd say, maybe even tier 4. They have the capability to throw it down in a pro lobby. Yeah. Yes, they won't be the best person. Yes, they will, if they come across an example, etc., they will have some issues, right? But actually, they just need to get through the grips. I'd like to see more UK players come through the scene.
Mm-hmm.
Just following on from the UK players, there is a question, Ryan, I believe it is coming through. How can we get an event in Europe? Maybe PUBG could do something around the times of Cologne, Meetup, etc. An event goes on. Obviously, there is an event which is the big Esports one, but that is not PUBG related. It is PUBG, but it's not PUBG backed. I just think it's cost. I just think the cost for venues. I think Germany's a good shout because it's kind of Central Europe. We could fly people in from multiple areas. When it comes down to it, I just think it's cheaper to do it out where they are at the moment.
So I think there's two things to this. One is cost. Everything more or less is cheaper in Asia. And honestly, the fans are way better. Me personally, it's biased. But me personally, I would say that having events in Asia is 10 times better. It's just everything about it is better. Just the fans. Honestly, I went to London. Obviously, that was the last one in EU, right? And it's just a totally different atmosphere going to Korea. You know, the amount of signatures, pictures, everything is just so much more crazy. And I feel like that energy comes through the screen. Well, at least I hope it does. You definitely feel it as a player. So, me personally, I would say it's probably going to be Asia only.
And look, if you look at PUBG released their books for 2024 and their profits, etc., just look at the profit margin out in that region.
Exactly.
It's like a completely different game. Don't get me wrong, we are still well ahead, especially when it comes down to console. Console scene is pretty much next to nothing. Then we've got even other revenue streams are producing more as well. So there's a clear bigger fan base out and outside of the world. So from a financial point of view, that it's cheaper to go do it out there, but also they've got all the fans that are buying all the skins that are part of the game. I just think it's going to continue to be out in the neck of the woods.
You can also add it up to imagine flying all the Asian players to EU versus how many EU NA teams are there. There's 4, right?
And that's even before we even have conversations around visas and CIS players and where they can and can't travel, etc. So there's loads of variables. I'd love to see in a European event. I'd like Hot Drops for me. If you haven't already, get to Hot Drops. I think it's a great event. Hopefully, Touchwood PUBG do it again this year. I like the social events.
Yeah, for sure. I think we might see we might see a TPP event in Europe. You know, like a TwitchCon sort of that style event. But I don't think there's going to be any pro tournaments in the EU.
A couple more questions here we answered already. Healthy, obviously we talked about Mixie signing for FaZe. We've kind of gone through that. You just mentioned TPP. Perfect timing because there was a question from the gentleman something. Can you define more in detail about the TPP? I think it's going to be situation in comp. I've seen some Asian/APAC region teams signing TPT players. Yes, they have. We have seen orgs already starting picking up TPP. There's an assumption there's going to be 2, maybe 3 events that could be TPP. I've not seen too much more since then.
So they haven't really announced anything yet. The rumours are that there's going to be maybe 2, 3, 4, whatever events in TPP. Me personally, I do think that if the viewership is decent on them, they are going to do a full shift next year. You
said this in the pilot. You think we are going FPP, TPP, fully, no questions asked.
I really do feel that. I think it's going to happen, depending on the viewership and how people react. But yeah, there's definitely going to be TPP events. That's for sure. You see Daytrade picking up a full roster TPP. You know, I think who's the other one? Gen.G maybe.
Yeah, they got numbers.
Yeah. So there's definitely going to be TPP events. How it all works, unannounced. No one really knows. That's up to PUBG to announce and decide. But it's going to be interesting.
How it works, though. So we've heard rumours that it was going to be in the UI, so actually in the game. That you'd sign up in the game, you do your scrims, you eventually work your way through, right? Then there's other whispers that it's not going to be in the game, it's going to be in an external platform. I'm not quite sure. I think it's a mistake, me personally, if it's not in the game. I think for it to be successful, it has to be in the UI. We log in, oh my God, it's Friday night. There's a TPP scrim event. There's a couple of lads.
We say that. They did add a thing in the game, the last patch, to have a one-time passcode that you could link to an account to have in-game. Yeah. So it's possible they are doing it in-game via client somewhere. You have to type in your one-time passcode, link it up, and it puts you in the server.
Well, that's what came up in the top corner.
Yeah,
and it
exactly.
links your craft and ID.
So that's going to be interesting. As you just said, it's a massive mistake not to have
100%.
esports constantly in the lobby. Why we still do not have an esports tab with all the teams, global partners listed. They don't even have to do the regional teams. With a constant store buying FaZe jerseys, you know, Twisted Minds jerseys and whatnot is just ridiculous in my eyes. But hopefully they do something in the game. I think it will bring a lot more players. If it wasn't TPP, unfortunately.
Do you know
but
what?
we'll see. We'll see what happens.
Look, I am an FPP guy, right? I can appreciate TPP and bring it kind of aligns them up to the kind of PUBG Mobile. You look at the revenues, PUBG Mobile was insanely profitable, right? I kind of get that thought process if they're thinking it from a business side, right? Are people going to quit the game? Yes, we're going to lose some people. Will new people join? Yes, new people will join. And the world will continue to go around when it comes down to PUBG. It just means we might be talking about TPP events in the future. I'd rather FPP, personally. Just because, just little things like players missing someone rotating past, you don't miss it in the TPP.
No,
you
don't
see a much wider field of view. Interesting to see how that unfolds, should we say. But expect TPP events this year. TPP events.
100%.
We'd love to hear what Americas as a region looks like from an outside perspective. With SQ, which is Sonics, and Twisted Minds, Luna, Simu pulling out all of the scene. It feels like that we're in a rough spot on this side of things. But there are some talent in the region, even if you ignore the established teams like Falcons, STK, former TSM, etc., and the teams like Friendly Fire, Rothred, etc. We spoke about them, Cowboy and Fate. You have free agents that recently retired, K-Mines, we spoke about already, and recently half-retired Snackers, but half the teams in SA are really starting to shine. Curious what your looks are from an EMEA perspective. I love the answer straight after this. No, you do not know the answer to this question.
So let's start off. The SA teams have been getting better. I still think they're full clown fiesta.
You love it.
That's a T-bone take. They definitely are getting better though. Some of them, the individual players, they are pretty decent. But you know, clown fiesta.
I think the reason for that, and Gibson Cast actually comments back on this because they were going back around talking. This one's had a few comments. This is from Lala, by the way. Gibson says it's stacked at the top, so he agrees, and I also agree with this. That there is a clear divide.
Oh yeah, for sure.
But this bit I think is key. Scrims are difficult to get running. We have no issue filling 5 lobbies every single day.
Oh yeah, for sure.
And even at weekends we can have 1, maybe 2, right? I think I've seen 1, maybe 2 NA. Now, is that because they're running events at the moment? Is that completely killed off scrims?
Yeah, probably.
That is a variable that you have to take into effect. Yes, the events are good. Yes, potentially there's a bit of money on the line for some of these guys and girls. But are they learning in the event? Are they just playing to the event? Do they need to get back to scrimming?
I think they troll too much. Obviously, as we said, like the top teams are good. Don't get me wrong. Individually, they've got loads of great players, but meshing together and team play is always a little bit lacking. Just going off again, NA teams. You know, the top teams in NA really good. They're strong teams. They can contend with EU, no problem. The bottom teams are like way worse than even group lobby, in my opinion. So. Yeah, this is a problem. There's just a huge divide. It's good teams, and then there's just absolutely shocking. Like when I watched the stream, when I'm like PEC, there wasn't what's it called? PAS, whatever. You know, the stream is nearly unwatchable because people are just doing the most
especially
ridiculous.
When you get a random team.
It's literally like Game 6 EU lobby scrims in a tournament.
That ranked,
basically.
Yeah,
and then you just got Falcons, which former Sonics just steamrolling people with TSM obviously wherever they're ending up. Great teams.
There is a gap. We have more players in our region, I suppose, and because I think having events on the off season is really important. But having an event every single week in and week out, I think actually might damage this team. These teams in the regionals come later on because they'll only be used to playing the same people that are signed up to the event.
I think
they're not varying.
I think something I will say as well is there is a lot of individually great players. So I don't want anyone to get that wrong. In NA, there's loads of individually great players, but PUBG is a team game. So that's what I mean by the bottom teams are just not very good. They might have individually good players, but
synergized.
they're just no synergy. And I don't know if that's because, America's so big and it's, America and South America are combined. It's just such a big region and they have different, ideas and whatnot. But for me, there's only a few teams that can make it gel.
Well, with 3 slots in the moment, if Team Liquid get global partner, there'll be 2.
It's going to be really tough.
It's going to be tough. Even 3's tough. 2's insane. I'm going to end on where did the T-Bone name come from? But I feel like the winter off-season is way too long. This is from Right Grip. What would your ideal annual PUBG esport calendar with regional, PGS, EWC, PGC, etc. look like? I don't think it's too long. I'm not someone. I think 2 months we got off. We literally finished just before Christmas. Don't forget we got Christmas. We got Chinese New Year as well. Korean festivals. I think it just feels long, doesn't it? This time it just feels because it's dark and cold. Like we're just not playing PUBG.
I think if you're a global partner team, it's not too long. You're chilling. Like it's pretty stacked the whole year. I personally think the overall schedule, everything is fine. I think it's.
What about from a non-partner team then?
From a non-partner team, if you don't qualify, it sucks. It's absolutely terrible. But that could be changed by adding regional events with no global partners available to play in it. But they refuse to do that right now. So if that was changed, and when PGS is going on, they have another put 5K in a tournament for, the non-global partner teams and whatnot. That could benefit greatly. But yeah, I think overall it's pretty stacked. And if you're traveling, especially to Asia and back, it absolutely roasts you. Let me just tell you that.
Let's kill our travel.
So, what we got PGS, you fly to PGS, then you fly back, then you fly to EWC, for example, then you fly back, then you fly to PGS, and then you fly back, and then you fly to, obviously, PGC.
Time zones are a killer.
The time zone changes. Yeah. But in between that, you also plan the qualifiers. So if you're a global partner team and you're making all the events, it's pretty stacked, and I think it's okay. It just feels like that if you're a non-partner team and don't qualify.
Right, so let's finish up this one though.
Yeah, go on.
Where did the name T-Bone come from?
So
or T-Bot is the manager.
Yeah, T-Bot is right now the name. So T-Bone come from. I was playing with one of my friends called Fausto, and we was just driving around. Everyone knows I love drinking tea. I'm British. It pretty much goes as a standard here. Yeah, Yorkshire tea, by the way. The only tea you should be drinking. But I believe it come from I basically just T-boned a car in one of the games, and then it was like, yeah, just call yourself T-Bone. And I was like, all right, mate.
It's stuck, mate. Been there for a while.
That was pretty much it. But yeah, it come from my good friend Fausto.
Cool. Wicked. We have some other questions, don't we? We've got some on
I've got one right
Twitter.
Here.
Go for it.
So this would be a good to get your perspective on this. This is from I Am Marcus right here, and
it's not me, by the way. I'm not sending myself a question, people.
Yeah, it's not you. But main concerns for PUBG or PUBG Esports. You go first.
Main concerns for PUBG. I think they're trying to align lots of revenue streams where possible. So they've got their hat in multiple pies. I do want to talk about this in a bit, but they've got a new PUBG game called PUBG Blind Spot. It's very different. We'll come back to it in a bit. So they've got focal point there. They've got focal point on the main game. They're trying to keep everybody happy, and I don't think that always works. PUBG Esports, we've already kind of spoken about. For me, I love the global partner teams, but I feel like we're in this middle ground. I think we need to evolve, either add more global partner teams or put global partner teams with regional teams together and to allow, and the reason for that is to allow the tier 2, tier 3, tier 4 scene to grow and develop. And there will be lots of variables in that, but there'll be they need more grassroots events. They need to invest, even if it's a couple of grand here, a couple of grand there, a grassroots event for those sort of teams to kind of come through. I just feel like we're in this kind of middle ground. I think they've got the right track, especially with PUBG Esports. It just needs to actually see this year out again and then assess actually what is the next step. How do we improve it? What about you?
So overall PUBG game, I would say there's two aspects. This ties into PUBG Esports. One is the Panzerfaust. They're adding stuff like that. Absolutely terrible. No fun. It sucks. I don't know why that hasn't been removed. This also adds in another question that I'm going to ask after this, but obviously the tier 2 teams, tier 3, whatever, revenue-wise, obsolete. They're getting absolutely killed right now. So org-wise, I think we're at the point that maybe the orgs are going to start just leaving, and it's just going to be global partners left. So that's something, needs to be fixed up with global partner system, how that all funds. And here's another part of my question. The blue zone. All right. This is one of my big worries right now, and I want everyone's opinion on this. So you can leave a comment below, tweet me, whatever. I personally feel that you should not be able to out-heal circle 4 to 5. Like 5 is a no-go for me. You should not be able to be outside circle 5 and healing.
I should have brought the clip up because we had this the other day. A player was from zone phase 2 in the blue and got second place.
Yeah, that's what I mean.
Phase 2 all the way through.
It's so stupid. I think it takes away from rotations, getting in the circle, playing well. There either needs to be a stacking debuff, or you should just not be able to out-heal it. So I would like everyone's opinion.
I agree. The blue zone is there for a reason, not to have 1,000 meds in your back pocket. And now if we've even got a car, arguably if they've got a car, they should be able to get in. But you could generally stack a car up as well now with the trunk space and just survive it. I'd like to see it. So phase for me, phase 1 to 3...
I think it's
from
fine.
a caster is okay, no worries. That phase 3 to phase 4. Once phase 4 is hit, I think we should see an increase in damage on time based. So instead of it being the same damage the whole time, the damage will increase all the way up until, and maybe between phase 4 and phase 5, it's not as much. But the time you get to phase 5 to phase 6, if it's continuing, going up by 1 point, let's say, or two hits, by the time we get to that phase 5, phase 6, 2's now feels like 62, and you're just literally med step, and you're gone basically at that point. So let us know, comments below on that one. I do think that is a change that is required. I'd rather a change like that than another Panzerfaust.
Oh, please, no more.
Getting added in.
Please.
Like, I love they could put a skin on it, but it's still, I would rather not.
So, one more question. Yeah, from Tash and Brad. Why do professional gamers, orgs, not take diet fitness seriously when it has been proven to increase performance, reaction time, and function? A slight improvement can make a huge difference in a game with such small margins. So what do you think of that?
100% true, but I think it's cost, right? A bigger org will have these teams in place, the analysts in place, etc. Whereas compared to let's say regional, so non-global partner teams and below, might not have the depth of money to house these type of stuff, right? Does it make an improvement? 100%. I think content needs to go out there. Maybe we try and find people that we can maybe bring onto the show and talk about it, because just your mental health alone, being able to reset and not take the negative that happened in the game before is huge. If you take the negativity through to the next game, you've already said multiple times, it's a team game. You then impact your wider team. I actually love going to the gym. Doesn't look like it, but it does reset. Like you feel good after the gym. Little things like that will help your minds. You're a big gym goer as well, actually. So
I do recently start going to the gym. Obviously, I've had a month off. I don't look like it, but I've been in Italy eating too much pizza. Let's just say that. So I put on some pounds. But I definitely think it is something important. And any new player out there, if you're watching, make sure just go to the gym 3 times a week. Get some blood flowing through you. Get some exercise in. It does make a difference. And from our point of view, let's just take the foot situation. We don't qualify by 3 points, 2 points, 4 points. Now, if everyone was going to the gym, hitting that perfect mental shape, or even like 5% better, maybe we make it, Them things do make a difference. And like you said, mental health can definitely help as well. So I would recommend it. It can come to a budget thing, but I think everyone can go for a walk.
You can walk, you can run. Like it just don't rely on staff. Don't rely on people you're working with. Do it yourself. Basically.
Obviously, the top orgs have physiotherapists. They have gyms. They have boot camps where they have all the equipment. They have people to teach you. And I know it can be a bit daunting if you've never been to the gym, but just get in there, man. Just get in there, do something.
Learn and get online. There's a load of information online about that sort of stuff. So. Cool. I love questions. Keep questions coming, please, because it is important. This platform is for not just us to talk about PUBG, but also for you guys. And I do want to talk about some PUBG before we close off. He says he closes that down because there's been some really interesting clips. We looked at leaderboards, we looked at stuff like this. You've mentioned it before. Let's talk about Panzers. Look, let's put a bit of context around here. This is the first game, the first zone, the first drop. Obviously, this is with no slack. So Paige and the guys, and this is with Fairy Tale. ES_test is Brightside, by the way. No Slack got the first knock on them. I think Rustamar was the first one, then Shining Dad, I think, and then Scav and Page obviously moving their way, and they lost one on the push as well. So they were down to a 3, and Fairy Tail were backed into a corner. And this is why I'm not going to put sound on. We'll put the clip on for you guys out there. But this is why I do not like Panzer. He's backed up, nades coming through. He just sees one, lucky enough, free run across him, and then it just goes to the other meta, which is the shotgun. And this is before we've seen the buff. But one person has taken apart 4 with arguably a noob tube. And Brightside, I love you to bits, mate, but like that is the reason why I'm not a big fan of this. It doesn't scream to well-played PUBG. It's just a blind fire. He literally only sees one, mate. He sees one player.
Please, PUBG, watch this. Remove the Panzer Faust from competitive. It is not fun to play against. It's not competitive. I understand you get some clips, but it sucks. It is just... There's no skill involved. It is just boring, right? And nerf Blue Zone. That's my 2 changes, please.
There you are. T-Bone takes. T-Bone PUBG takes. The other one I want to talk about is actually you, T-Bone, because on the scrims, you find yourself up in a silo in the middle of Chomacera, which is actually really good. Not a lot of people play this. We have seen people play it before, but it's quite rare. And actually, I think for a majority of this time, people had no idea where you was. You were just knocking them for free.
Yeah. It's an interesting spot. I've seen a couple of Asian players play there before, and it's a super strong spot. It's just one of those things in scrims that high ground is king, right? So if you're up here, you can pro and you're pretty much safe from everything. Take the opportunities you can. We did end up winning this back-to-back game, which was pretty nice. But yeah, like this is a tip for everyone. You know, use your terrain. Yeah. Use your terrain to your advantage, basically. And high ground often wins you the game.
They just had no idea. They had no idea you was there.
Imagine if I had a silencer MCAP there. No one would have any clue. I actually didn't have a silencer in this, so
but you had a shield.
I had a shield, luckily enough.
Like that, I think alone, with one interest in the fact that you was able to get it down because it was on like super wonk.
Yeah.
And actually, you put it to one bit where actually I kind of felt like you didn't want it there, but actually where it was, it actually did block off some shots coming through. I think it was Lucrux that actually found you at the end because you were just
knocked him like 6 times.
He was like, what is going on at the moment?
Yeah, it was funny.
And the Eternal Final obviously came up and they had no idea. They came up from that ramp coming out of Chimsera. So, and eventually I think it was the Mad that actually spotted you just because at that point you was making so much noise. You must have been laughing to yourself in part. Cause
it was funny. I was just farming. It was good times.
The only danger of that spot is if it plays back outside Chimsera and the hill behind you.
Oh yeah, the hill behind you sees you for sure.
But if it plays that side, that's a take. Play the T-Bones or T-Bot silo.
T-Bot spot,
in that one. Final statements before we go to our highlight player. How's your month been? What's your final take so far? What's been happening in the region?
So far, I would say everything is going okay. I'm looking forward to this upcoming season.
Oh, yes.
I think our team is probably the best it's ever been. I feel the most confident in them.
What's changed?
Pixel brings in a lot of good
Energy.
vibes, energy, chill. You can put him in a building by himself and he will kill a whole squad by himself with gas cans and all this shenanigans, spikes, whatever.
Loves it.
Right? So that's a big help for us. And I think overall we've learnt a lot. You know, I've matured a lot as a person as well, I think. Let's just say I've had a lot of T-bone takes in the past. Some a little bit too far gone. But you know, you live, you learn. So I'm looking forward to it. It's going to be hard, don't get me wrong. It's looking absolutely stacked, probably the most stacked it's ever been. But let's see what happens.
It's going to be a tough year. I can't take anything away. It's going to be another tough year if they don't add any more slots, etc. They're just assuming they're not going to. It's going to be a tough year. And it immensely tough for you, I think. From an outsider looking in, it looked deflating because you're missing by one slot.
As a non-GPT, it's brutal.
Yeah. I just think I think it's going to be the same this year.
Yeah.
Which I know you don't want to hear. Not you missing, but I just think we are going to see teams miss, and I don't think we're going to see big changes. I don't think we've got time in the schedule at the moment for grassroots. I'd like to see that change in the future. And there are loads of positive things going on. There's lots of positive moves. There's lots of moves and shakes. That's going to unsettle the environment to a degree. But yeah, I'm right. I'm with you, mate. I just want to get the season going. I just want to get going. obviously we plan to talk about events, so we do these once a month now, guys. We're in the studio. We booked events normally second week of the month, where we'll come in here and we'll break down the tournaments. We look at clips. So again, if you guys think there's clips we should be looking at, let us know and bring it in. My final thoughts before we go into the player highlight is it's just the same, really. Just I'm excited. I'm excited for the 25 season. I'm excited the roadmap came out early. I'm excited for the players that have moved around. I'm keen just to get things started. I feel like we've missed obviously a Protality, etc. We've not had that this year, so we've not had our first event, and one of the other regions has had multiple actually. So I feel like it's going to be a very explosive year for us. I think there'll be a lot for us to talk about come from these. But apart from that. And before I move on to the players' highlight, I do want to ask you a question. Have you seen and have you played? It was called Project Arc, but it's now got an official name. It's officially getting launched out. PUBG Blind Spot. Very, very different game.
Very different. I've seen it being played. I've watched Pixel play it. He's been
insane
playing.
at it.
He's been launching knives at people and stuff like that. So I have seen it. It's an interesting game. I think it could work. It looks kind of fun. But I haven't played it personally.
You just get onto it. I'll get your codes. It is a top-down PUBG game, and it is a attack and defend mentality. Bomb, search and destroy. Pixel is insane at it. MK in his hand and knives in the other hand. He was putting people in. I think it does have a interesting mechanics behind it because you're not looking through. Because the players are also looking down. You have to use your mouse wheel to scroll up and down if you're going to hit a headshot or a body shot. So if people crouch and spin, which Pixel does all the time, he's able to launch a knife back at you pretty quickly. So I think it's going to have a really strong community. I think it is esports ready. I know we like to say hashtag esports ready. I think it is a game that could go to market and actually just start being played. I also think it could be a very good mobile game, but more to watch on that. I'll get a link in the description. It's on the wish list. The demo is getting launched out in a couple of weeks anyway, so make sure you just sign up on the wish list on Steam. And more importantly, put comments on. Let me know what your thoughts are. If you like it, you don't like it. I'm really interested to know what your thoughts are. But more to come. That's what I can say with that one. Right, final segment. Talent highlight. Who is your talent highlight for the month past?
Are we going one team, one player?
You've got to give me one player.
Okay, one player.
I've got one player.
Oh, I was going to go Boostic, but I'm going to stick with my man Diffx. He's on a new team now. Let's see how he goes.
Interesting. Strong. I'm going to go for... I had Boostic and I had Diffx on my radar. I'm actually going to go for Doozy at the moment. Strong player anyway, but I think arguably in scrims, he's been really consistent. And I know he normally is, but I think he's one just to keep an eye on now, especially in scrims. I'm really interested to see with the new addition to that team if they're going to be doing well, but I think he's leading the charge there. I think a Doozy is definitely my talent highlight. So unfortunately, no new names from me today, but it is an old name which everyone should know. That's it from us. First and foremost, thank you very much for everyone that has sort of jumped in and listened to us waffle for a period of time. Hopefully the sound audio was okay. Apologies, the fan was on slightly. We'll be back, as I said before, we're back every single month. So if you do like the comments, obviously comment below, let us know what your thoughts are. More importantly, hit the subscribe button. This is a brand new channel. We've separated. It's not on any of our stuff. It's its own entity. We plan to bring in guests. We can bring in people onto the screen as well. We can bring people into the studio if we need to. And we just want to talk PUBG every single month. So again, please keep your feedback coming in. Yes, positive and negative is really, really good. That's it really from us. As I said, we'll see you guys next month. In March, we're going to have the global partner teams out by that point. We should have PEC potentially starting, so we're going to be talking about PEC, PAS. Hopefully, we can drag you away from the qualification depths that they will be in. But yeah, we plan to keep these going as long as you guys and girls out there still want it. But that's it from us. Thank you very much, and see you guys next time. Peace.
Thank you.